Abby award-winning Auburn-Opelika This Morning on News Talk WANI, part of the Auburn Network family of stations.
Time now for Lee County Extension today on News Talk WANI. Joining us in our studios, Jennifer Lolley with the Prairie Preserve and Nature Center. Good morning.
Good morning.
And special guest Emily Merritt. Good morning, Emily. How are you?
Good. How are you?
This is nothing new for you getting up this early, right?
No.
Okay. All right. Would you introduce what Emily is doing and part of her study is at the Prairie Preserve and Nature Center, Jennifer?
I'd be glad to.
Okay.
So Emily is a research associate in the Department of School Forestry and Wildlife Sciences, and she has been working on some research on ticks. And we get a lot of concern and questions about ticks, especially in the summertime. And we have this year seen a few more than we have normally, so I think it's a good year for her research. But I've always been curious. I just see these flags and don't really understand, what exactly she was doing. So I thought it would be interesting for her to talk about the ticks that are in Alabama and in the United States, and what we look for and what her research is all about.
Emily, where's home for you originally?
I'm originally from Long Island, New York,
Okay.
and I came down here to get my master's in wildlife sciences about almost 4 years ago.
Okay.
And I graduated last May and started on with this research with Dr. Lockaby in the School of Forestry and Wildlife Sciences. And it's really great work. We do also a lot of outreach too. But primarily what we're doing is going out there and collecting ticks with dry ice. When the dry ice sublimes, it gives off carbon dioxide, and that's one of the things that ticks are drawn to. When like an animal breathes out,
Right.
it's their breath, and so
Like
the
me.
tick, yeah. So ticks are very drawn to that, and then we have tape on a cloth, and the ticks get stuck on the tape, and that's how we collect them. And we basically fold it up, bring it back to the lab, and pick all the ticks off and put them in a vial with some high proof alcohol in it and send them off to a lab in to the Department of Entomology and Plant Pathology, where Dr. Derek Mathias, analyzes them for what tick-borne illnesses they have.
Okay. Are we seeing more ticks in this area this year? And if so, why?
Well, that's what we're trying to find out. We're not really sure yet, and unfortunately, we're probably a year or two away from like really getting that kind of information. Um, but just anecdotally, from being out in the field, actually, the Auburn, Camp Hill area, this part of the state, has a lot of ticks. And
Oh, yay.
yeah, we don't know anything about their illnesses yet, but yeah, there's a lot.
Why this area? Any
I
idea?
think we're just really wet. I think we just have a lot of humidity. We've been getting a lot of
No
rain.
question about the humidity.
We've been kind of getting a lot of rain. I think in this area more so than maybe other parts of it. Like it's been kind of scattered, as we've all known.
Right.
The weather's been all over the place. But I'm not really sure. Fayette is pretty bad too. We get ticks up there, but Auburn by far has been the worst, actually.
We win. We win.
That's not something we want to
no.
win in, is it?
No. But there's ticks everywhere, and something that I like to stress is that it's not just in the summer. I mean, that's where you really start to see them come out a lot. I
Right.
mean, we've been catching a lot of ticks. But the winter definitely has ticks that too, and those are also the ones to be concerned about because they're the ones that are the culprits for transmitting Lyme disease. And
Why the winter as compared to the summer?
well, I think that it's a specific species of ticks. We've got five main species of ticks that people should be concerned about here in the state. The black-legged tick is the one I was referring to, and they tend to come out in the winter more so.
I see.
They like the cooler weather. It's too hot for them. But like Lone Star ticks, they're really like fast, and they've got just one white dot in the middle of their back. That's a Lone Star tick. That's a female Lone Star tick, and they're really aggressive. They're out right now. Dog ticks, which we've been finding a lot in people's backyards, obviously.
Yeah. So
Um,
not just in a wooded area then.
oh no, we're finding them in pines, shrub, even a little bit in pasture, people's backyards, woods, everything.
Ticks are everywhere.
You're not
Right.
safe.
Okay, well, we'll go to break with that warning
Wonderful
there.
thought.
Yeah. Emily Merritt, Jennifer Lolley, our guests on Auburn-Opelika This Morning. We'll have more after this. Stay tuned. We're talking ticks this morning. Emily Merritt, Jennifer Lolley, Prairie Preserve and Nature Center. Emily is doing a study. How wide is the study, and what's the area, Emily, that you're working in right now?
Well, we call them sites, but we've got 7 basically locations that are separated pretty far throughout the state. Fayette, Camp Hill, Auburn, down by Clayton, the Barber WMA, down in Fairhope, and Camden, and the Selma Marion Junction area.
Okay.
And within that, we have 105 plots total in all of those 7 areas. And we would like to eventually spread to the northern part of the state, but we would need more funding and
Sure.
manpower and some more resources for that.
You said you're right now you're working with 5 different species in this area. Is that right?
Yeah, primarily that's what we're catching. Yeah, and those are the 5 species of major health concern for
Right.
humans and pets as well. That's there's more tick species in that, but those are the ones that we're mainly finding, and those are the ones we need to be really concerned about.
I got to tell you, a little alarmed to hear that they can be in my backyard. What you told us?
You're
first
safe
segment?
nowhere. They can be in your house.
Oh goodness.
If you have pets and stuff
All
that
right.
bring them in.
Well, that's true. That's true. What can the average homeowner in the area what can they do to help try and prevent ticks from getting in their yard or shrubs and that type of thing?
Yeah, just keeping your landscaping neat. Things overgrown, they really like that. If you've got like woodsy areas and stuff, they really like that. So if you just keep it trimmed and mowed back and don't rub against the bushes and everything, then that's fine. But I mean, they can come from those areas into your main lawn to get your pets or you if you're relaxing out there. So I would definitely, I know, I know, I'm
You're not
sorry.
relaxing anymore.
No,
You're not
really.
relaxing anymore. But what you can do is, like, if you're just in your backyard, you would do this anyway, potentially for mosquitoes, but just DEET bug spray. Get highest DEET you can. I know everyone's not thrilled to hear it, but I mean,
Right.
it's the best you can do, like, for your skin. If you're out, say on a hike or landscaping, working in your backyard, or maybe you go hunting, anything that you do outdoors where you might encounter ticks, treat your clothing. We're finding really good success with permethrin. It's a treatment for your clothing, a spray. You can
Okay.
get it online. I think Gander Mountain has it. I'm not sure if Academy Sports does, but if you look around a little bit, you can find it. But it's permethrin, and it's just a spray, and you treat boots, hats, shirts, pants, socks, whatever you wear outside. And we've had a lot of luck with that, and a lot of people we've recommended it, and they come back to us and they're like, "Oh, it works."
Okay. Is that something that you use when you're out?
100%,
Okay.
yes. And I've only been bitten by 1 tick since we started over like a year and a couple months ago.
Right.
And but Dr. Lockaby gets them on them all the time. And I think it just varies by individual too. So if you
Like
get eaten,
mosquitoes.
yeah, if you get eaten up by mosquitoes, you might get eaten up by ticks too. Yeah,
Right.
I know.
All right. Let me ask you this question because I know that it's going through my mind. I'm sure it's going through others' mind as well. And I think we've all dealt with ticks at some point of our lives. What's the best way to remove a tick on our pet or on us?
That's a really good question. A lot of people have their home remedies
Right.
that they like to do, i.e., burning the tick off of your body or
Right.
applying a substance to it. I like to remove ticks from me just plain old tweezers. I think it's the safest and potentially quickest way. I know that some people are concerned about the mouth part breaking off. Just don't yank it out, but like kind of tug on it until it eventually comes out. But getting the tweezers as close to the skin as possible by the mouth parts.
Okay.
Don't grab the body, because if you grab the body, it can explode the tick, and then you can get sick that way too if the guts are and the blood and everything's all mixing together. Yep. So
Right.
get as close to the skin as possible and just tug evenly and hard until that tick comes off, and hopefully it might leave a red mark, it might itch a little bit. It might stay there for a couple weeks, but that's, everyone's body reacts differently and they're just a nuisance.
What is the idea behind the study? Is it to see what kind of diseases are coming out? Is that the end game here for you at this point?
It mostly just to kind of get a baseline of what's out there and where. Um, I no one really has a clue as to where the different diseases are, where the ticks are throughout the state. Not a lot of research has been done, and the research that was done like several years ago to 10 years ago plus. So I feel like it's time for us to really make a concerted effort and take a look at everything that's going on in this state with the wildlife populations. We're also collecting wildlife off of ticks. I'm sorry, ticks off of wildlife.
Right.
So we're working very thankfully with the ADCNR. They're also funding some of our research, and they've been collecting ticks off of deer for us during like the hunting season and some of other studies they have going on throughout the year. And that's been really, really great.
Is there a time of day that matters with regard to ticks, or is that a determining factor at all?
The way that we have our studies set up, we can't look at that. There are some, I would assume, and I think that the like research has said this in the past, that mostly during like dusk and dawn, the cooler hours of the day where the wildlife are moving more often, that's probably when the ticks are going to be most active. But again, all times of day. If you're trudging through their habitat, they're gonna get you.
But I've been out at the preserve for 10 years, and I've only had 2 ticks in 10 years. So, and I'm not the best to spray and do all the stuff I should. So
Right.
and I wander in the bushes and the woods a lot too. So, just pay attention. Always check yourself after a visit in the woods or the trip, and especially in fields. I think of more fields being
See,
with shrubs.
and that's just my misperception. My thought was always the wooded areas is the main part. Now
think-
that's what I was told growing up.
It's everywhere. They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
That's
They're
the
everywhere.
easy answer.
What a comforting thought that is.
We're glad we could help you out this morning.
Yes, Emily Merritt and Jennifer Lolley, our guests on Auburn-Opelika This Morning. Lake County Extension today on News Talk WANI. Jennifer Lolley with the Prairie Preserve and Nature Center, our guest. Our special guest is Emily Merritt. We're talking ticks this morning on News Talk WANI. You have a site at the Prairie Preserve and Nature Center.
Yes. Well, we have 3 plots there.
Plots. How large are your plots?
They are about, well, we put the trap in the middle of it, and they're circular plots. They technically go out to 11.3 meters.
Okay.
Which is like, I don't know how much, 15 feet
Yeah.
or something around there. But they're about that big. We're not quite sure exactly how far the ticks are coming from, but we're drawing them to the middle of that point. So hopefully from a couple meters away,
Right.
but
I hope she takes lots of them with her.
Yeah, no kidding.
we're getting a few.
Good.
Dr. Lockaby gets more on him though, unfortunately.
Are there
I got a tick
any
magnet.
positive aspects of ticks?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Everything has a place. We just don't always recognize
Well,
what it is.
I mean, maybe like disease transmission, that's a form of population control in a way. So
True.
I think that's probably their primary reason.
All right. I guess I don't know if it's all right to mention where they are, or should we just leave that alone?
With the ticks?
The plots.
Oh,
No.
well, I mean,
No, they're just,
that's fine.
she wanted them close to our water out on our power line. So it's no place that anybody's going to wander into.
We've
It's
got
very high
signs up
bush.
there. I mean, if you
Right.
want to get ticks on you, go ahead and see
Just
what our
give them,
plots
give
look
them
like.
to me before you leave,
I
so I can give them to
prefer
Emily.
not to. All right. What's going on at the preserve these days?
We had a hike this discovery hike and a nature walk.
Okay.
But mostly we're kind of the dog days of summer here and just getting through the heat.
The butterfly you asked me to bring in has decomposed. I'm sorry.
Oh, darn.
Yeah. So anyway,
You tried.
I tried to bring it in this morning. There wasn't much left of it.
Yep.
As a matter of fact.
It does happen. So we save a lot whenever we can find, butterflies don't live very long. So often you can find a whole butterfly somewhere.
What is the life of a butterfly after it moves from the?
It just depends on the species. So, it can be just a few days up to a few weeks. To a monarch can live, they travel all the way down into Mexico. So they can actually live up to 9 months. But most butterflies live just a short time.
The butterfly
Few
garden
weeks.
at the Prairie Preserve and Nature Center is on the north edge.
It is off of Farmville Road. You can see it from Farmville Road if you
Right.
pass by there. But if you park in that parking lot over there, it's just a short walk to it. And we saw a lot of butterflies the
We
other
did,
day.
yeah. Jennifer was kind enough to give me a tour of the preserve. I got to see different aspects of it. I was fascinated by the butterfly garden.
It's a pretty place. Maybe
yeah.
you won't kill those caterpillars next time.
Well, I don't know. It depends on what they're on.
what they're eating.
Yes,
So,
exactly. If they take care of that, they may meet their demise. All
but
right.
it was great to get you out there.
Yeah. When do you have the kids starting to come through?
It's usually we start having some, our Little Forest Friends program and Nature's Explorers, our homeschool program, about mid-September. So we'll start
Okay.
having some school groups then. And then we're scheduling, we received a large grant to study children and the effect going to a nature center has on them. So we're going to start kicking down that in October. And we have about 1,200
Yeah.
students coming from surrounding counties. And then all of our Auburn students will also be. We don't have a huge amount of field trips in the fall, but it has steadily increased. Most of ours are in the spring, though. Most teachers don't like to travel until they've really gotten their kids in line.
Emily Merritt is with us this morning talking ticks. All right. When do you think you'll start to learn? You're always learning, excuse me. When do you think you'll start to get some of the results from these studies with regard to the type of diseases and that type of thing?
I think hopefully within the next year. We also scientists in academia primarily have to go through a peer review process when they're trying to publish any of their research, and it's a way to put it out there and make it look legitimate. And so anyway, that's probably about 2 years off, maybe even more than that realistically. But so it takes some time because we have to get the samples in and we have to then analyze them, and then we have to analyze that data, and that takes a while as well. So
How long will you do this part of the study?
the field collection,
Yes.
yeah, we hopefully intend to go to at least May. That's our goal. We'll have been going for a year at that point. If we will definitely last that long. We would love to do it longer than that, but it's keeping permission and the property is maintained, and sometimes ownership changes, or the higher ups change, so
Right.
things change anyway.
Are all of the studies that you're doing, are they on public land or some on private land as well?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah, some of people's backyards, we had to get permission from the property owners, landowners, renters, whoever was on that from
Sure.
them. But then there's a lot of land that the university owns and the state owns that we can just use free of charge with no issue whatsoever, just access.
But if anybody drives by the School of Forestry over this next year, it's been kind of funny. So if you drive by, it looks like we're doing our laundry out on the left side of the building. So there's these white towels hanging on all the fences and everything. Well, that ought to be Emily. So,
Okay.
but it's nice to see what the research is pointing to now. If you drive by and wonder about it.
All right. Thank you both for being with us this morning. Wish you all the best with the study.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you in a couple weeks.
I'll see you. Have a
Jennifer,
great week.
thank you. You too.